How do you know my name?
The world is too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear. Your parents' death was not your fault.
My parents deserve justice.
I cannot let that pass. If you make yourself more than just a man, then you become something else entirely.
Which is?
A legend.
The Batman.
Gotham must be destroyed.
Gotham isn't beyond saving.
Just hold on.
What's going on, everyone? The Great Talent here, and today we're going to talk about Batman Begins. All right, now we are moving. Now we're back in business, baby. See, we had a little bit of a roller coaster ride here for a little while on my Batman marathon, but we went from Batman Returns, took a little bit of a rocky road with Batman Forever, and then just a nosedive with Batman and Robin. But I'm back, baby. We're back. We're in probably the best Batman trilogy ever. Of all time, and yeah, kicking things off with Batman Begins. But before we begin, I just want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, and hey, why not subscribe? So yeah, let's just dive right in. So Batman Begins is the kickstarting a new Batman trilogy, starring the very young at the time, well, youngish Christian Bale as Batman, a 31-year-old like Christian Bale, nice prime ripe age to be Batman. Kick off his own little trilogy. You got Michael Caine as Alfred. I think he does a phenomenal job as Alfred. We'll get into that in a little bit. Playing the main villain is Ra's al Ghul. It's Liam Neeson. And you have Rachel Dawes, played by Katie Holmes, and you have Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman. Cillian Murphy is the Scarecrow, and you got a bunch of other people. Carmine Falcone. There's a fucking star-studded cast. Don't get me wrong, folks. But yeah, so the story is, it's just Batman's beginning. So it's like and it shows you like the movie's almost a little bit bloated because it's like 2.5 hours long, but it's jam-packed with shit. It's like it showed you like what drove Bruce Wayne to like go off on a tangent and fucking run away from his like heritage, like train with the League of Shadows led by Ra's al Ghul, and become like this ultimate ninja assassin who like has a taste for the theatrics. And it's really good. It's really it's honestly, it gets better with age, folks. And I will explain to that why to that point. But yeah, so I just want to get the negatives out of the way first because okay, so what I did not care for about this movie after rewatching it a dozen times by now is the fact of the matter that that unfortunately I think that honestly, if I'm going to be fully transparent here, I didn't care for the whole having Batman. I understand you have to tell the story, right? You have to tell the story, but why does it take 55 minutes for Batman to begin? That's like more than half the movie right there. You could have done that, I would say, within a 30 to 35 minutes, maybe like half the time. But I understand you kind of have to tell how show her the training, show him building the Batcave and everything like that to that point. It just like it builds the anticipation. Don't get me wrong, but at the same point, you're getting anxious. You're like, the anticipation is like starting to like become frustration, and that might get people a little bit too annoyed. Other than that, I wasn't crazy about Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow in the business suit. I like Scarecrow. It's just like a Scarecrow in like a Scarecrow attire. But I get it. He was like playing the whole like psychologist thing, and he was working for the mob, working for Ra's al Ghul, blah blah blah. But I think he did a great job. They all did. The acting, the performances were just like spot on. It was like everyone, even right down to Commissioner Gordon, who was like a perfect iteration of the Commissioner Gordon, played by Gary Oldman from like the animated series. And even though he looked a little bit like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, kind of give that a pass. Other than that, though, there was some plot holes I didn't really care for, such as I love the concept of poisoning some like a city's water supply. But it's like when you start to really think about it and turn on your brain a little bit, it's like, okay, so if they're waiting to evaporate the water, with what happens if you boil water and it creates steam? People should have already started feeling the effects of this neurotoxin that fucks up your brain and shit like that. You should see it hallucinate and everything, but no, I'll let that slide because it's honestly a very well put together movie. I really loved it. I think that Christian Bale as Batman is probably my second favorite Batman next to Michael Keaton. He has come into his own. He's developed so much over the years. I'm not crazy. The only thing also too, this movie it wasn't that extreme and apparent, but in the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, his voice gets like very raspy. You can barely hear him or understand what he's saying at some points. But honestly, I think that in this movie he sounds a little bit like better. He sounds a little bit more refined. But in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, he has a little bit too much of that rasp, like what I mean, like that. But here he's more like he's just like speaking in a very low voice, like like get like Rachel or like Commissioner Gordon's like you never have to say thank you. And he's like, oh, and you'll never have to. Like he has that like deep monotone voice, but he's not like screaming or like sounding like he sucked down a box of Marlboros. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul is really fantastic. I think Michael Caine is really good as Alfred. Like I keep saying, the action scenes are really well put together, well choreographed. I would have liked to see a little bit more action unfold. I would like the choreography to have been a little bit more robust. A lot of the fight scenes are just Batman in bits and pieces, just kind of taking down the foes like in very quick, fast-paced motions. But you're not like seeing the actual fight scenes play out. And I would have liked to see that a little bit more. Batmobile is a fucking tank this time. It literally is a tank, folks. It is a tank. And it will fucking roll over anything in its path. It fucking creates mass mayhem and destruction. And again, it's not my favorite Batmobile, but if I had to pick a Batmobile that can beat all the other Batmobiles in terms of its physicality, it would be the Tumbler in this movie, the Batmobile. But yeah, no, you got to see some really cool imagery, cool scenes of Batman posing and like flying down like staircases and gliding down staircases and gliding in the air and shit like that, and like putting his wingspan out and everything. It's really great. It's really great. It's fantastic to see that iconic imagery right there, and I thought it was a delight. It was really honestly the story had a little bit of hiccups here and there, but honestly the story is so well put together. It showcases a darker, grittier side of Batman. It tries to balance it out with a little bit of a lighthearted tone with some jokes here and there. Like you got some, a little bit of jokes thrown in here and there, like with Lucius and the chemistry between Lucius Fox and Wayne is pretty good, as is Alfred and Wayne. They cut. Alfred and Lucius are cracking jokes here and there when they can. It is a very dark movie, though, very gritty. Or Batman, probably the most grittiest Batman trilogy within the Batverse. So. To that point, it's honestly, it's honestly what really separates this stuff from the other Batman movies. It's less campier than the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman movies. Way less campier. It feels almost like not real life, but it feels almost like it's more grounded. It's more grounded is I think a good word to use, good terminology to use. It's more grounded to the ground. It feels more real. It has a sense of more realism to it. And it's more relatable kind of sort of, it's still fucking a bit of the theatrics, but, and in the end of the movie, there's a nice little plug for the Joker. I thought that was really nice, the way they did that, the nuance of it all. It was very well done. It just, very excited to see, the next movie again, because I've watched The Dark Knight so many times in my life, so many times. It's just never enough though. It's never enough because if I can't, if you can't tell by now, folks, The Dark Knight is probably my favorite Batman movie of all time, and one of my favorite films in general of all time, which is kind of foreshadow what kind of score I'm going to give that movie. Biased or unbiased, fuck it, you don't know. But other than that, so yeah, just gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna drop my score, and we're gonna wrap it up. So if I had to score Batman Begins on a scale of 1 to 10. Believe it or not, folks, I'm going to score it the same way I scored Batman 1989. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's still an amazing movie. It's honestly, years ago, if I watched this a few years back, I would probably give it a lower score, like 8, 8.5. But like I said, it just gets better with age. It's a 9 for me. It's a 9 out of 10. It's an amazing experience. Would I put it above Batman 1989? I don't think so because of Jack Nicholson and the Joker. You know, he kind of saves that movie from being bumped out of my slot and being replaced with Batman Begins. But no, other than that, yeah, it was just a fun ride. If you want to watch this now, you can watch it on HBO Max. I watched it on the 4K Blu-ray. Believe it or not, folks, this 4K Blu-ray sounded incredible. I have the 4K HDR version and the Italiano mix, the whole Christopher Nolan box set. Believe it or not, folks, some parts of this movie look better than others. Toward the halfway point, after the Batmobile scene on the rooftops, it looked a lot sharper than it did in the first half of the movie. So the first half of the movie, it felt a little condensed, compressed, with the aspect ratio was a little bit like scrunched together, but then it opens up in the aspect ratio when after you got to that Batmobile scene, it opened up a lot, and I appreciated it more. But yeah, so that's how you can watch it. If you don't have a Blu-ray, you can watch it on HBO Max, like I said before, and that's pretty much it. That's my review of Batman Begins. Next up is, woohoo, baby, The Dark Knight. I can't wait. You can't wait. I can't wait to review that for you guys. I hope you look forward to that. With that being said, thanks as always for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch everybody next time.